Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Gnana Vijnana Yogena Karmanam Udaranjataha Hiranyakesha Padmaksha Padma Mudra Padambujaha.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. By mystic yoga and the practical application of knowledge from the scriptures, Kapil Muni, who is characterized by his golden hair, his eyes just like lotus petals, and his lotus feet, which bears the marks of lotus flowers, will uproot the deep-rooted desire for work in this material world.
Text 18. Isha Manavite Garbham Pravishta Kaita Bahardanaha Avidya Samsaya Granthim Chitwa Gam Vicharshishati.
Lord Brahma then told Devhuti, my dear daughter of Manu, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who killed the demon, Kaitiba, now is within your womb. He will cut off all the knots of your ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world.
Text 19. Ayam Siddha Ganadeshaha Shankacharya Susamtaha Loke Kapila Iti Akyam Ganta Te Kirti Vardhanaha.
Your son will be the head of all the perfected souls. He will be approved by the acharyas, expert in disseminating real knowledge. And among all the people, he will be celebrated in the name of Kapil. And the son of Devhuti, he will increase your fame.
Text 20. Maitreya Vacha Tav Avashya Jagat Sashta Kumare Saha Naradaha Hamso Hamsena Yanena Tridhama Paramam Yayahu.
Srimatra said, after the speaking to Kadama Muni and his wife Devhuti, Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, who is also known as Hamsa, went back to the highest of the three planetary systems on his swan carrier with the four Kumaras and Narad.
Text 21. Gate Sata Dratau Shataha Kardamastena Chodita Yatoditam Swadute Tri Pradat Vishwa Shajam Tataha.
O Vidura, after the departure of Brahma, Kardama Muni, having been ordered by Brahma, handed over his 9 daughters as instructed to the 9 great sages who created the population of the world.
Text 22 to 23. Marichaye Kalam Pradad Anasuyam Athartraye Shraddham Angira Se Yachat Pulashtiya Havir Bhumam Pulahaye Gatim Yuktam Kratavicha Kriyam Satim Khayatim Cha Pragavyachad Vashisthaya Pi Arundatim.
Kardama Muni handed over his daughter, Kala, to Marichi, and another daughter, Ansuya, to Atri. He delivered Shraddha to Angira, and Avirbhava to Pulatsya. He delivered Gaiti to Pulaha, the chess Kriya to Krutava, Kayaya to Bruga, and Anudati to Vashista.
Text 24. Atharvane tatak chantim Yaya Yagno Vitanyate Viprashabham Kritotvahan Sadaran Samalalayat.
He delivered Santi to Atharva. Because of Santi, sacrificial ceremonies are well performed. Thus he got the foremost Brahmanas married, and he maintained them along with their wives.
Text 25. Tatashtashrashaya shataha kritadhara nimantrya atam pratishthanandim apanaha swam swam ashrama mandalam.
Thus married, the sages took leave of Kadama and departed, full of joy, each for his own hermitage, O Vidura.
Text 26. Sakava trinam triyugam agnaya vibuddha shabam vivikta upashagamyam pranamya samabhashata.
When Kadama Muni understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the chief of all the demigods, Vishnu, had descended, Kadama approached him in a secluded place, offered obeisances, and spoke as follows.
Text 27. Aho papachyam mananam nirayeswar amangalaha kalena puyashe nunam prashidatiha devata.
Kadama Muni said, Oh, after a long time, the demigods of this universe have become pleased with the suffering souls who are in the material entanglement because of their own misdeeds.
Text 28. Bahujanma vipakwena samyag yoga samadhina trashtum yatante yatayaha sunyagareshu yat padam.
After many births, mature yogis, by complete trance in yoga, endeavor in secluded place to see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Text 29. Sa eva bhagavan adya helanamna ganayana griheshu chato gramyanam saswanam paksha posanaha.
Not considering the negligence of ordinary householders like us, the very same Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in our homes just to support his devotees.
Text 30. Swiyam vakyamritam kartum avatrino simi grihe chikeshur bhagavan gnanam bhaktanam manavardhanaha.
Kadama Muni said, You, my dear Lord, who are always increasing the honor of your devotees, have descended in my home just to fulfill your word and disseminate the process of real knowledge.
Text 31. Tahi eva te viryupani rupani bhagwamipstava yani yani charochante swagnanam anuripinaha.
My dear Lord, although you have no material form, you have your own innumerable forms. They are truly your transcendental forms, which are pleasing to your devotees.
Text 32. Tvam suribestattva pupushtashyadaha sada bivadar padapitam Aishwarya Viraya Yasho Aboda Virya Shriya Murtam Aham Prapadye. I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry. I'll do it again. My dear
Okay.
Lord, your lotus feet are the reservoir that always deserve to receive worshipful homage from all great sages, eager to understand the absolute truth. You are full in opulence, renunciation, transcendental fame, knowledge, strength, and beauty, and therefore I surrendered myself onto your lotus feet. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the opportunity. Excuse my mistakes.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much, Bharti Mataji, Kanta Mataji, for your beautiful recitation. So, can I just invite us to join me in the Mangalacharana and the invocation prayer? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyata Deshatarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Our Hare Krishna dear devotees. So welcome to the chat class today. And today we are going to be in Canto 3, Chapter 24. That's the renunciation of Kardama Muni. And we are going to be doing verses 20 to 26. Maybe what we can do is we can begin with a short recap of what's happened over the last couple of chapters. So, chapter 23 is Devahuti's lamentation. And this is when Emperor Swayambhuva Manu and his queen has departed from Kardama Muni's ashram. And this is when Devahuti and Kardama Muni, they start their their married lives. And we see that Devahuti, right from the start, she understands the desires of her husband in terms of helping him in both his material and spiritual growth, and she serves him very constantly, and constantly to the extent that she does that with love and sweet words. And we also hear that she does this giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity, which means that she's got absolutely no desire, when she, does this service towards her husband. And Kardama Muni sees this, and then he also sees that she's neglecting to take care of her own physical health and body. So he's overcome with compassion, and then he provides her with a transcendental vision, and he says that you do need, it's important that you do take care of your you should not neglect your body so much. And he also is very, very satisfied and very, very pleased with this with the service and the mood in which Devahuti serves him. And then upon hearing this, Devahuti is very satisfied, and what she does is, and then she reminds Kardama Muni, her husband, about the promise that he made, and then about the promise that he made, um, and then just to repeat, so you once made a promise that our bodily union should now fulfill. And if we recollect, Kardama Muni had this instruction from Brahma, that he will, carry forward the progeny of the human race, and these are the circumstances in which the Lord, is manifesting, his Leela. So now Devahuti continues, and then she reminds Kardama Muni of the promise that he has made, and also to make arrangements so that they can beget the children as per the instructions for Kardama Muni. And so then we also understand how Kardama Muni, because he's not just an exalted devotee, but he's also the master of mystics. So he has all the yoga siddhis, and one of the yoga siddhi is also to be able to create an aerial palace, and that's what he creates. So he creates the right environment in which Devahuti and he can beget his children, beget progeny. And so then we hear a lot of the beautiful description of the palace, and how Devahuti initially feels quite embarrassed because she does not believe that she's not been taking care of her body, her clothes, and then now she's got a lot of maidservants who take care of her, and then she comes back to the position that she was in, which is the daughter of the emperor. And then in the next few verses, we also hear how Kardama Muni and Devahuti, they lead a very enjoyable life, and they go to they go to Mount Meru and various heavenly places, and then they spend a lot of time traveling and enjoying, not just number of days, but a number of years, and then they come back, to the real mansion. And then after they have traveled back, then they get into this aspect of creating a progeny, and then where we see towards the end of the chapter is where Devahuti and Kardama Muni is blessed with 9 daughters. And what's very important are the last few verses, because this is a point of time where the couple have been, eagerly, enjoying all the pleasures, and There's something very interesting that happens to Devahuti right at the end, and this comes when she sees her husband about to leave home, and so she smiles externally, but at heart she's very agitated and distressed. And let's really try to understand the reason why she felt that way. So she has got all the opulences as we can imagine in the aerial palace. She's got all the opulences, and then she's also been gifted with like 9 beautiful daughters, and yet we see that she's suppressing her tears. So she's lamenting, and and then she says to the Lord, "You have not fulfilled all the promises you've given me. And yet, because I'm surrendered soul, you should also give me fearlessness as well." So that was a long period of time when Kardama Muni and Devahuti were, like enjoying, the pleasures of Mount Meru and many other auspicious places. And yet, when we reach a point where Devahuti feels that she's fearful, and this also speaks a lot about like the pleasures that we have in the material world. So they are all temporary, and we cannot expect that they can give you eternal happiness. And here, where what Devahuti is feeling is a sense of fearfulness. She's having this sense of fear that Kadama Muni is going to leave her, and what she also says is that at some point, when her 9 daughters grow up, they are going to get married and they're going to move to their respective homes. In that case, Devahuti is wondering who's really going to take care of me. And when Kardama Muni, like renounces and becomes a sannyasi. So that's really, those are really the emotions, those intense emotions that Devahuti is experiencing. And there are also a couple of things that she mentions, which is a very, which is quite educational to us. So she says that association for sense gratification is certainly the path of bondage, but the same type of association performed with a saintly person leads to the path of liberation, even if performed without knowledge. So here we see that Devahuti has been serving, Kardama Muni, who is one of the Prajapatis, and with that in that particular association, she has been, like enjoying, the sense gratification. But there has been, she hasn't completely remembered, the path of liberation. And this is where she feels anxious. And what she also says is that anyone whose work is not meant to elevate him in religious life, anyone whose religious, ritualistic performances do not raise him in renunciation, does not lead him to him in devotional service, must be considered dead, although he's breathing. So that's a very, very important statement that Devahuti is going through, because she has been through this particular sense enjoyment, but because it has not really been done in a state of renunciation, um, she feels that, and because it's being done with absence of the aspect of devotional service to the supreme personality of Godhead, that's why she feels that it must be considered dead, although they are breathing. And that's an important message to us as well, saying that we can continue to aspire for sense gratification, but if we don't really put Krishna in the center of whatever we do, then anything and everything that we do is not going to really help at all. And that's where we leave the last chapter. So Devahuti has been serving her husband, or with utmost chaste, in a chaste mode, in a spirit of complete humility. Then she has this desire to raise progeny, and so they go through a time where they do sense gratification, and then towards the end she feels that that she has got this fear, and only Kardama Muni can really overcome that particular fear. And then as we move to this chapter, which is chapter 24, that's the renunciation of Kardama Muni. So Kardama Muni hears and he listens to Devahuti's lamentation, and he can see how she's using these words in a complete sense of renunciation. So even before Kardama Muni is getting to a state of renunciation, he's already an exalted one, but he sees Devahuti also reach a certain level of renunciation, and he feels compassion for her. And what he reminds her in the early part of the chapter is that the infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead will shortly enter your womb as your son. So Devahuti is going through a lot of anxiety. She's going through a lot of emotions, and she wants to stop, she wants to get rid of her anxieties and fears. And Kardama Muni reassures her that the Lord is going to take birth in her womb, and he's going to remove the knot of ignorance, and we will come to this in a little while. And then and then we also see that Devahuti is completely faithful. And what Kardama Muni says is that for you to really invite the Lord, please do worship the Master of the Universe, and He's situated in every heart. So you can see that there is in the early part of this particular chapter, there is a transformation that happens. So Devahuti, very, very anxious, worrying about, but a realization that she spent a lot of the years in sense gratification, and now she wants to get back to being in devotional service of the Lord, and then she starts worshiping the Lord. And then as we continue, so we then see that Kapila Muni, the Lord, prepares him, for his descent. And we can see that the demigods and everybody is very, very satisfied, because they know that it's going to be a very, very auspicious time. And the Lord is also going to come and demystify and and preach Sankhya knowledge, which the world has forgotten. And it's a reminder of the temporal nature of the material world, and how it's important to really lead your life in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then the demigods are very, very happy, and you can see that they extract a lot of they shower a lot of flowers. And then in the last few verses, Brahma comes, and then he has a conversation with Kardama Muni. And what Lord Brahma says is that, my dear son Kardama, you have accepted my instructions without duplicity, and whatever your instructions you took from me, you have carried out, and that therefore you have honored me. And then he also then approaches Devahuti, and then says that, um, my dear daughter of Manu, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who killed the demon Kaitaba is now within your womb, and he will cut off all the knots of your ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world. And it's and here what is really this knot that Lord Brahma is talking about? Both Devahuti and Kardama Muni are amongst the most exalted devotees of the Lord. However, because they also came in contact with with Yoga Maya in this material world, um, Devahuti has got these knots of ignorance, as you can see from the previous chapter. And what the Lord is doing is that he's taking birth also in a way to rid Devahuti of the doubts that she has, and to remove the knots of ignorance, and illuminate with true spiritual knowledge. And then in the verse just before the verses that we are going to speak about, what Brahma says is that your son will be the head of all the perfected souls. He will be approved by the acharyas, expert in disseminating real knowledge, and among the people he will be celebrated by the name Kapila. As the son of Devahuti, he will increase your fame. So as the Lord, like descends in the form of Kapila, he's going to be the head of all the perfected souls, and that's what the rest of the chapter is going to be all about. And then he will also be disseminating real knowledge, and that the real knowledge is what will remove the anxieties, the fears in our heart, and it will also remove our desire for sense gratification. So that's really where we are now. So what we will do is we will move to text 20 to 26 as a continuation of where we left off. I'm just going to start sharing my screen. So hope you're able to see my screen. So what I'm going to invite us to do, although there are a number of verses, we only have a couple of like purports, but they are quite informative and educational for us. So let's begin with text 20. So Maitreya Uvacha Tava Tavashvasya Jagat Srishta Kumare Sahanaradaha Hamso Hamse Nayanena Tridama Paramam Yayau. So can I invite one of you to read the translation and the purport? Would anybody like to do that?
Hare Krishna, can I do?
Yes, Saroj Mataji.
Sri Maitreya said, after thus speaking to Kadama Muni and his wife Devahuti, Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, who is also known as Hamsa, went back to the highest of the three planetary systems on his swan carrier with the four Kumaras and Narada. The words Hamsena, Yanena are very significant here. Hamsayana, the airplane by which Brahma travels all over outer space, resembles a swan. Brahma is also known as Hamsa because he can grasp the essence of everything. His abode is called Tridhama Paramam. There are three divisions of the universe: the upper planetary system, the middle planetary system, and the lower planetary system. But his abode is above even Siddhaloka, the upper planetary system. He returned to his own planet with the four Kumaras and Narada because they were not going to be married. The other rishis who came with him, such as Marichi and Atri, remained there because they were to be married to the daughters of Kadama. But his other sons, Sanat, Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Narada, went back with him in his swan-shaped airplane. The four Kumaras and Narada are Nashtika Brahmacharis. Nashtika Brahmacharis refer to one who never wastes his semen at any time. They are not to attend the marriage ceremony of their other brothers, Marichi and the other sages, and therefore they went back with their father Hamsa. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So let's let's just understand the translation first. So this is so Brahma has just had a conversation with Kardama Muni and his wife Devahuti, and he he speaks, with a lot of satisfaction that Kardama Muni has fulfilled his instructions, and now he also speaks about and like the role of Kapila, and prepares the entire world towards that. You can also see that he has traveled, with a lot of other sages. So it's really that the Lord has is creating the right environment in which to propagate the progeny, and so he is the creator of the universe, and he also goes back to the highest of the three planetary systems once he has given further instructions to Kardama Muni, not only in terms of that, but also in terms of the marriage to his nine daughters. So Prabhupada in his purport says here that the word Hamsina Yanena is very significant, and you can see that Brahma, like whenever he's always depicted like as traveling in a swan. And there are two significance. One is the swan is not just like his career, and the swan takes him to the highest planets, but there is a second aspect of Hamsa. So Hamsa also means that he can grasp the essence of everything, because he's the unborn. He's the first like living entity. He's the creator of the universe, and he understands anything and everything that's going on. He knows what the Lord's instructions are, and then he ensures that in the material world everybody follows the right instructions. And now he's also given the instructions to Kardama Muni and Devahuti just before this. And where does Brahma live? So he lives in a abode called Tridama Paramam. And and what Prabhupada says here is that there are 14 planetary systems, planetary bodies, and then you have the upper planetary system, then you have the middle planetary system, and then you have the lower planetary system. The upper planetary system is where you have the demigods, and then there are more and more heavenly planets there. And in the middle is where you have the Bhumi, and that's where the living entities, the human beings live. And then you have the low planetary system, where we have those with the demonic qualities. And his abode, Brahmaji's abode, is even above Siddhaloka, which is the upper planetary system. So, and that's where he returns. And what Prabhupada also says here is that he returns with the four Kumaras and Narada, because their position is quite different compared to the other rishis, because the other rishis were planned to be married with the nine daughters of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. And but the four Kumaras, that's Sanat, Sanaka, Sanandana, and Sanatana, and Narada, they um, were not going to be married, and hence they returned, to Siddhaloka along with Brahma. So Prabhupada says he gives a certain, quality of the four Kumaras and Narada. So they are Naishtika brahmacharis, and the Naishtika brahmachari refers to one who never wastes semen at any time at all. So they never get into the grihast, and as part of that, they would also not be attending any marriage ceremonies. And a reference from this could be that because they are a Naishtika Kumara, they do not have anything to do with with things like the marriage ceremonies, because their roles are very very different. So so because they do not face a semen at any point, point of time, they do not get involved in things like the marriage ceremony, and so they go back to Siddhalok along with their father, that's Brahma. So let's continue, and let's see what happens next. Text 21. Gate shatadrithau akshattah कर्दमस्तेन चोदितः यथोदितं स्वदुहितृः प्रादाद्विश्वसृजां ततः. So let's move to the translation. Would somebody like to read this?
Oh,
Brother.
Vidura, after the departure of Brahma,
Sure.
Kandava
Go ahead.
Muni, having been ordered by Brahma, handed over his 9 daughters as instructed to the 9 great sages who created the population of the world.
Thank you. So if you recall, why is a lot of Canto 3 is about the creation, and it really begins with Parikshit Maharaj asking about about the dynasties, about the progeny of the various Manus, and so Sage Maitreya is just continuing, the discussion and the explanation around the dynasties and the progeny. So in this, Kardama Muni hands over his 9 daughters as instructed to the 9 great sages, and through these 9 great sages is where the population of the world has been created. Now, there's something very interesting that Brahmaji says right at the start. So, all the 9 sages are very exalted, and like Marichi, and they're all pure devotees of the Lord, and then also the 9 daughters, very chaste, very beautiful. So that's one thing that Brahmaji does mention, that it's quite important that even if you have like the 9 most exalted sages and the most exalted like daughters, it's quite important that the pairing of the or the marriage should be done keeping in mind their disposition, their quality, etc. And so Karadama Muni and Devahuti they do have a responsibility of choosing the sages or the grooms for their daughters in a way that allows the greatest probability of harmony after marriage. And as per the Vedic scriptures, it's quite important, it's quite important that when when there is a man or a woman who's who's being considered to get married, you need to see that it happens as per the Vedic scriptures, and that's where astrology is consulted, the horoscopes are considered, and even today, and definitely maybe like almost like 30 or 40 years ago, there continues to be like a desire among the parents to ensure that their daughter or their son gets married to the right partner. And it's just not about the physical attraction, it's just not about the material attraction from a material perspective, but it's also from qualities and a disposition perspective as well. So that's where what Kardama Muni, he has he's been ordered by Brahma. So he's handing over his daughters as instructed, but then he's handing over after like taking due consideration of the qualities of his daughter, and also the qualities of the 9 great sages as well. So moving on to text 22 and 23. Marichaye kalam pradan adana matraye shraddha mangirase yachad pulasya havirbhuvam pulahaya gatim yuktam kratavecha kriyam satim khyati cha brigave yachad Sishtayapyarunditam. So, would somebody like to read the translation?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Madhvi Mataji.
I will read it. Kardama Muni handed over his daughter Kala to Marichi and another daughter Ansuya to Atri. He delivered Shraddha to Angira and Havirbu to Pulatsya. He delivered Gati to Pulaha, the chaste, Kriya to Kratu, Khyati to Brigu, and Arundhati to Vasishtha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. So here we see that Kadama Muni is very clear about which daughter should marry which sage, and he of course has the transcendental vision, and he has been given specific instructions by by Brahma to ensure that the right daughter gets married to the right sage, and so he's handing over yeah, appropriately. So Dr. Kala to Marichi, because the qualities like really are very compatible, because today we hear this word about compatibility whenever we hear about like marriage, and like is the girl and the boy, are they compatible? And we do see that if we look at compatibility largely in a material context. So, for example, we look at education. So, so both the girl and the boy should be somewhat comparably, like educated. Otherwise, we might expect that there could be some, like disharmony that could come in the future. Then we also look at from a compatibility. We also look at economic like a class. So, for example, if a girl is coming from a very rich family, then the expectation can also be that she would want to marry in a family which is also rich, and that's why we see that when we have these business empires, and when we have like the heads of the business empires, then they usually get married to another head from a business empire, so that the wealth multiplies, and it like it resides within the within the families. And we do see examples of that going on across the world. And it can also be the qualities. So it could be some common interests. So you could have like liking for maybe outdoors, liking for travel, liking for sports, liking for arts and culture. So a lot of the compatibility we see today are based on very material aspects. And here what Kardama Muni is doing is, of course, considering the material aspects, but very importantly, what do the Vedic scriptures say about the qualities, about the disposition, about the personalities of of his daughters, so that so the compatibility is not only seen from a material perspective, but from a Vedic perspective as well. And today, as we see, because the compatibility is seen more from a material perspective, so we do see that there has been a growth in marriages not completely succeeding, and there is a lot of disharmony that happens. There is a lot of unhappy marriages, and unfortunately, many of them also result in decisions where like either the man or the woman, they feel that it's much better to really separate. And why is that happening? That's happening because there is not due consideration given in terms of choosing your right partner. And because of that decision, because it's quite an important decision, because it's not being we're not really following as per the Vedic scriptures, we have those incompatibility issues that emerge at a later point of time, and that leads to unhappy marriages and increased divorce rates. So moving on to text 24. अथर्वणे ददाश्चान्तिं यया यज्ञो वितन्यते विप्रर्षभान् कृतोर्द्वाहान् सदारान् समलालयत्. Would somebody like to read the translation?
May I, Prabhuji?
Yes, Shiji Mata.
Thank you. He delivered Shanti to Atharva. Because of Shanti, sacrificial ceremonies are well performed. Thus he got the foremost Brahmanas married and he maintained them along with their wives. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So Kardama Muni continues to, like wed, the daughters to their respective sages. So Shanti has been delivered to Atharva, and and what we also hear here that because of Shanti, all the sacrificials, like ceremonies are well performed. So they are performed as per the Vedic scriptures, and they are always performed with paying obeisances first to Vishnu and then to the demigod. So all the sacrificial ceremonies that are performed are always need to be done by the Vedic scriptures. Only then can we really get the full benefit of these yajnas or sacrifices. And in this case we see how because of this marriage that between Shanti and Atharva, like it ensures that all the sacrificial ceremonies are well performed. And so that's how he got the foremost Brahmanas married. And then let's continue to text 25. And then that is Tatastha Rishayak Shaktaha Kritadara Nimantyatam Pratishtananti Mapanna Swam Swamashrama Mandalam. Who would like to read this?
Can I read it, Prabhuji?
Yes, Pushti Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Thus married, the sages took leaves of Kadamba and departed full of joy, each for his own hermitage, O Vidura. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So now Kardama Muni has and Devahuti have completed their their instructions as per Brahma at the start of the chapter. So he has handed over the 9 daughters to to the 9 great sages, and now that that union has happened, so the sages, they take leave of Kardama Muni and departed full of joy, because now it's really about, they know that they have got a partner with whom they will be able to follow the instructions of the Lord, which is to propagate the progeny. But also they do know that they've got a partner who are going to be helping them fulfill their spiritual ambitions as well, and together they will perform devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this also would remind us a couple of chapters when Kardama Muni himself for thousands and thousands of years he performed a lot of austerities, and and then the Lord satisfied with with austerities, shows his form to Kardama Muni. And at that point of time, Kardama Muni almost feels a little embarrassed, because he has performed all these years of austerities, and the intention was for to ask the Lord for a suitable partner. And and of course the Lord knew exactly what was in Kardama Muni's mind, and then that's how he creates the environment where the Emperor Swayambhuva, Manu, and then his queen come, and then they hand over to Devahuti. So this has just happened, and just like a couple of chapters ago, and now it's time to continue with the with the procreation and the formation of the human race. And that's where now the sages are taking leave, because now they have their instructions and now they know that they will they've got the partners with whom they will not only continue to create the world as per Brahmaji's instructions, but also do that in a way where they continue to perform devotional service to the Lord. And then text 26. Sachavartinam Triyugam Ajnaya Vibudarshabam Vivikta Upasangamya Pranamya Samabhashata. So would somebody like to read the translation and the purport, please?
Hare Krishna. Okay, read.
Yes, please, Mataji.
The translation. When Kardama Muni understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the chief of all the demigods, Vishnu, had descended, Kardama approached him in a secluded place, offered obeisances, and spoke as follows. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Vishnu is called Tri-Yuga. He appears in the three yugas, Satya, Treta, and Dwarpa. But in Kali Yuga, he does not appear. From the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, however, we understand that he appears garbed as a devotee in Kali Yuga. Lord Chaitanya is that devotee. Krishna appeared in the form of a devotee, but although he never disclosed himself, Rupa Goswami could understand his identity, for the Lord cannot hide himself from a pure devotee. Rupa Goswami detected him when he offered his first obeisances to Lord Chaitanya. He knew that Lord Chaitanya was Krishna himself, and therefore offered his obeisances with the following words. I offer my respects to Krishna, who has now appeared as Lord Chaitanya. This is also confirmed in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj in Kali Yuga. He does not directly appear, but he appears as a devotee. Vishnu, therefore, is known as Tri-Yuga. Another explanation of Tri-Yuga is that he has three pairs of divine attributes, namely power and affluence, piety and renown, and wisdom and dispassion. According to Sridhara Swami, his three pairs of opulences are complete riches and complete strength, complete fame and complete beauty, and complete wisdom and complete renunciation. There are different interpretations of Tri-Yuga, but it is accepted by all learned scholars that Tri-Yuga means Vishnu. When Kardama Muni understood that his son Kapila was Vishnu himself, he wanted to offer his obeisances. Therefore, when Kapila was alone, he offered his respects and expressed his mind as follows. Haribol.
Haribol, thank you so much. This is a beautiful purport, and this is where Kardama Muni understood that the Supreme Personality of God has descended. So here Prabhupada speaks about Lord Vishnu being called Three Yuga, and there are two or three interpretations of this. And the first one, as we know that like Lord Chaitanya is a secret incarnation, so we don't really see him appear. So he's a hidden incarnation, and so Lord Vishnu, he appears in Satyuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga, and but he does not really appear in Kali Yuga. But we know, and Rupa Goswami detected this, that the Lord is going to come, but not as a Lord himself, but then he's going to come as a devotee, and that's how like Lord Chaitanya descended on this particular earth, and we are and we do uh, um, we owe a lot to the Goswamis, and definitely Rupa Goswami, because he offered his first obeisances to Lord Chaitanya, and hence we also see how he extols like what it means to, like perform loving, devotional service through the nectar of instruction, through the nectar of devotion, which are among, the spiritual literature that are very, very close to our heart, and where Rupa Goswami really says how can we truly understand and realize Lord Chaitanya and perform devotional service. So, and he also Prabhupada also says that this is also confirmed in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. So, where again, in the prayers, we know that, the Lord appears in Kali Yuga as a devotee and not necessarily as the Lord. And that's why, because he's a hidden incarnation, it's quite easy for us to think that think that the Lord has not really appeared, but then he has appeared. And it's important for us to seek our spiritual master and Rupa Goswami and Prabhupada's mercy to be able to remove this particular knot of ignorance and illuminate us to really help see Lord Chaitanya in the form that he is, and ensure that we follow the Sankirtan movement that he has propagated, and that he invites us to like constantly follow all the practices that we have in Krishna consciousness. So, and then there is also another explanation that Prabhupada gives here. So, another explanation of Three Yuga is also that he has got three pairs of divine attributes. And so there are six opulences, and power, like affluence, piety, renown, wisdom, dispassion, or renunciation. And these three pairs of opulences could also be a way by which we can describe Vishnu or Krishna, because he has got infinite opulences. All the three pairs has got infinite opulences, whereas for those of us who are in the material world, we may have some in quality, but then we do not have all of them, and we do not have it completely. So this is quite an interesting like juncture, because now Kardama Muni has has completed like a key part of his instructions, which is to marry his daughters to very deserving sages. And now he's preparing for a conversation with Kapila, and with Lord Kapila, and that's what the rest of the chapter is going to really explore in further detail. So we pause at this stage, and I understand that we have exceeded time a little bit, but I'll be we can have a time for maybe a couple of questions and reflections on what we've discussed today.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Madhvi Mataji.
The Vishnu avatar, is it the expansion of Vishnu? No, the Kalki avatar. Is he the expansion of Vishnu?
Kalki avatar, which is yet to come in the Kali Yuga, yes, I mean would definitely the an expansion of Vishnu. So it'll be he'll be the last incarnation. Yes.
Okay, does the expansion have the opulences?
All the expansions will have all the opulences of the Lord. So, which means that even Kalki Avatar will have all the three pairs of opulences as has been described here. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thanks,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions or any other reflections on today? So just a very quick recap. So these verses today were about Kardama Muni following the instructions of Lord Brahma and marrying his 9 daughters to the 9 great sages, and the sages preparing for the married life which will help continuing, the creation of the world as per the Lord's instructions. And then Kardama Muni, once he's understood who Lord Kapila is, seeks to pay his obeisance to the Lord. So that's really the essence of what we have covered today. So if you have no more questions, then can I invite Shri Kishori Mataji to end with the Vaishnava prayer?
Hare Krishna. Thank you very
Hare
much for
Krishna.
the nice class, Prabhuji, as always. So, dear devotees, let's put our hands together. Let's pray very sincerely. You can all join me behind muted mics. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much and have a blissful evening.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
the beautiful
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
wisdom.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Thank
Prabhuji. Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.